Hey y'all, Kelly Whitney here with another thing older black women should tell younger black women but don't. Lesson for today, don't be afraid to date outside your race. You're not gonna find a lot of relationship advice on my channels because I don't really think I'm qualified. But I have had successful relationships outside my race, so I can speak on that with some authority. It would be absolutely wonderful if all black women could end up with fabulous black men who had crest white smiles and were over 6 feet tall and all made good money and had their own businesses and just loved our dirty draws. But that's probably not gonna happen for all of us. It's a numbers game, you know what I mean? So I would like to encourage you to broaden your scope. Once you get yourself together, money's up, house is in order, you're physically fit, you're looking your best, you're feeling your best, you're spiritually healed, you're mentally sound, and you're ready to get out there and find your other half. Look around and don't be dismissive if they're not black. You're not gonna find me bashing black men because we don't do that over here. Just as you're not gonna find me bashing black women. I don't think that's helpful. What I will say is, sometimes you can find companionship right in front of you, and based on where you live or where you work, that is most often where you're going to find companionship, and it may not come at you from a brown face, unfortunately. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. There is a guy on the internet who I see his videos from time to time. He's called Dating Coach Anwar, I think, Anwar. He's hilarious. He's a dating coach who specializes in helping brown and black women to find love. He will tell you, broaden your scope. Don't be afraid to date outside your race. I can say I've dated all kinds of men. The one relationship I had that lasted the longest and that I still have ties to this day was not a black man. He is Spanish and he loved me. We had a really wonderful relationship. He treated me very well and he still keeps up with me to this day. What made our relationship special was he was very accepting. He was a non-fussy man. He was very loving, very caring, very considerate. He cared about my comfort. He cared about my well-being. He was thoughtful. He paid attention to me. He was observant. He was interested. It was all of the foundational things that you want from a man. That's what you should look for. Now, when you're dating outside your race, I would encourage you to be careful. Of course, most of the world fetishizes black women. You see what I'm saying? So you don't want to end up just being, oh, I got a black girl. You know, you don't want that scenario. And the way that you avoid that is to not hop into these beds, you know, like you got springs on your feet. You know how I am about this. I don't want you hopping into these beds too quick. You gotta check these people out and see if they're worth your time. When it comes to dating outside your race, like I said, most of the world fetishizes black women. So there's going to be some people who might show interest in you who aren't only interested in you because of the color of your skin. You do with that what you want, because you know, low key, we may be fetishizing some of these men ourselves. Because I didn't even know these Asians could be that fine until K-pop exploded and, you know, they kind of like popped onto the scene with these K-dramas and whatnot. And it was like, I didn't even know they could look like that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not mad at black men all the time for being intrigued by women who look exotic or what have you. I mean, we can, you know, be interested for the same reasons. There's no harm in it. It's just that if you're looking for something stable and serious, be wary of that, because that's just like a flash in the pan. That's not rooted in a desire for commitment or long-lasting love. You see what I'm saying? I think all of the things that you would look for in any kind of relationship, those still count when you are exploring relations with a man who's outside your race. Because at the end of the day, it's really just the color. It's really just culture. It's really just life experience. And just as with anyone, you need to get to know somebody. You need to assess whether or not their differences are appealing to you enough that you want to learn or grow or dive into that kind of difference. I would encourage you to consider the men that are not black and who show interest in you. There's no harm in vetting them, seeing what they're about. Just be careful. That whole scenario about the woman choosing the bear, that shit is real. Okay, so I would just encourage all of you out there in the dating scene, no matter who it is that you're dating, to be careful, but don't close your heart off just because somebody's not Black. Love is so rare, real love, and so valuable that you should not make your dating pool smaller just because you're omitting everybody except Black men. From a numbers game, that's just not good strategy. For the same reason that you can't just date a guy who's over 6 feet and looks like he lives in the gym and, you know, all these other list characteristics that you may want in real life. Because the thing that I've found out is a lot of times you get who you are. So if you want somebody who's over 6 feet and physically fit, but you're like short and round and don't look like you've seen the inside of a gym like ever, then you're probably not going to be attractive to that type of man. You need to be realistic about your expectations, and that's why I encourage us to get ourselves together first, and I mean all the way together, before you even think about jumping into the dating pool, no matter who your target audience is. But yeah, don't narrow your field too tight. You know, you don't want to omit options. There are men, good men of all kinds out there, and you should consider them. If they're nice and sweet and they care for you and they do all the things that you want a man to do, consider them. There's nothing wrong with dating outside your race. And I know there are some purists out there who adamantly do not agree with what I'm saying, but again, I feel like love is so valuable. Wherever you find it, if it's genuine, you should consider it, and you shouldn't squander it just because it doesn't come in a perfect package. You know what I mean? And I think older Black women don't tell younger Black women to consider dating outside their race because maybe they haven't done so. And there's a level of discomfort with anything that's potentially new or unfamiliar. They can't really advise you in the same way that I really can't advise you on relationships with any depth or expertise. Just because your mama didn't do it or your grandmama didn't do it doesn't mean it's bad. You see what I'm saying? So I hope y'all found some value in today's message, and I wanted to throw that out there because Black women, we deserve love, we need love, and whether we get it from ourselves, from our friends, from our family, or from a romantic partner, you should always assess it for what it is and make sure it's right for you. And, you know, be safe out here. I hope y'all found some value in that message, and I hope you come back for the next video.